I was born November the 25th, 1919, on Thanksgiving Day in Alabama, Rama, Alabama. My father was a sharecropper in Alabama, and then the Republic Steel was hiring people to come. So my aunt, who lived with my grandmother, called them and wrote to them and told them to come up north, and my father worked at Republic Steel. 1923, I believe. I lived on 11th Street, Northwestern, and I lived with my uncle and his name and my aunt, and his name was Walter Toles, Reverend Walter Toles and Mary Toles. When I was going to school, I played basketball. I was a great runner. And when I was in the third grade, the young boys put my long braids in the inkwell, and I was running after it. I said, I'm going to get you after at recess. And when I ran, I knocked his thumb out of place. He just stopped still. And I was going to beat him up, you see. And so I fell on this thumb. And that's when the doctor was going to the schools, and he put my thumb back in place. We had a softball team, and we could not wear pants. You couldn't show your legs at all. So we had a softball team, and we went to you know what KLC Hall is?
Yes.
Well, we went there to play ball up there, and I was the pitcher, and we call it the sneak. I would throw the the ball, and we call it the sneak. And you see the baseball playing it now, but it's just from the side. You hold the hand down. No, but that's the name that we gave it. No, baby, you had the pants underneath, but you had to wear a skirt over top. And then when you got that to the field, you took the skirt off.
Okay.
But you could not come back like the kids out now wearing like she is like that.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
You had to have a skirt over top of that.
Oh my goodness.
Theater. We'd go there every Friday or Saturday, and they'd have a tub, and you have to dunk your head in there to get the apples. And the one that got the most apples, I won. Guess who won? I did. And therefore, I was able to take tap dancing lessons. And when you get on your toes, what you call that? Ballet? I took ballet, yes. And then that was free for about 6 weeks. And then after that, they wanted you to take and pay for it. Well, we wasn't able to because that was during the Depression. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
You could go there every Saturday, and I think we got in for a dime. Yes. Oh, the other thing now, when we went to the Lincoln Theater, we had to sit up in the balcony. We weren't allowed to sit down in the center. We only could sit in the balcony or over on the left-hand side, okay. And so then a hairdresser by the name of Mrs. White and her husband, who worked for Padulas, they decided, well, if I work for Padulas, who taking on the Lincoln Theater, we gonna break this. And so what they did, they got all dressed up, and they made sure they was the first one to buy tickets. So they went in and sit where we wasn't allowed to sit. So now, if I cook for you, surely I can go in your building and sit where I want to sit. So we broke that down.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
And when was that? 30s, 40s?
Baby,
Later?
you should have come earlier for me to give you that information, because I don't remember that.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Now, was this Mr. White who had the trash route?
No, baby.
Okay.
That's a different one.
Okay.
And did everyone else join in sitting in the center section, or?
Not that night.
That
Didn't
night.
nobody sit in that row but two people. That's all. Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, the other thing, I lived on Young Street, and my neighbors were Czechoslovakian, and they were teaching me how to speak Czech.
Do you remember any
No,
of it?
no.
So is it a very ethnic neighborhood because of the steel factories? I mean, were there a lot of different ethnicities in the area?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Did you ever get to sample other cooking and?
Well, they used to make the homemade bread, you know. Uh-huh. And we get a chance to eat some of the homemade bread, which was very good. Uh-huh. And now my mother used to can everything, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
What kind of things would she can?
Well, the best thing I can remember was cabbage in a jar. And I kept that when my mother died, I kept just 2 jars of it. And about 5 years after that, I opened it up. It was just like brand new, fresh. It was very good. And we used to go out and pick blackberries. That was one of our jobs that we had to do in the summertime. Go out and pick blackberries. They bring the blackberries back, and my mother make blackberry pies. My father would take and make blackberry wine, and then he let us make our wine, okay? But we put white potatoes in ours, and we thought we were drinking the same kind of wine that they were drinking. And my father would make root beer, a home brew as they called it, okay? He would make home brew, okay, for them, okay? Now my mother and father and my neighbors, Mr. Wyndham, would play cards, and we would play old maids in the dining room. Now they would be drinking the home brew, and we would be drinking the homemade root beer, and we thought that we was drinking the same thing as theirs because by foaming, you see. Yes.
Now, in your opinion, was the root beer that your dad made better than the store-bought stuff?
Oh, baby, I don't know because I never tasted theirs.
Okay.
I only tasted our root beer. So I never had no desire to drink, what they make now.
Okay.
No, I don't have no desire for the pops that they drink now because I was used to the root beer, okay? Mm-hmm. Yes. I don't know what whiskey tastes like. I don't know what the beer tastes like. Only my root beer. Now, I will order root beer. Want a baby? Uh-huh.
That's great. So you said one of your jobs was to pick blackberries. What else?
During the summer, yes, during
What
the
else
summer.
would you do in the summer?
Play games. I told you that all the children coming from all the different cities, they play ball in our open space. Okay. And my father would have the hose on the outside, and the kids could get to drink the water from the hose. Yes.
Would you ever go swimming?
No. I went to Valley High to learn how to swim,
Okay.
but I was afraid to take and go in the deep. But I'd swim across and back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you go to school?
Well, the first school I went to was Lorne Andrews School. Then I went to Horseman.
All right.
Then I went to Franklin. Then I went to Jones. Then I went to high school and graduated from high school.
And when did you graduate?
1938. That's when Paul Brown was a coach of Massillon in Massillon before he became famous.
Did you ever go to football games?
I went all the time. Oh yeah, going back now since you mentioned that, the football field was over at Jones School, and the young boys would cut the fence, and we go and sneak in under the fence and go in.
That's funny. So when you graduated, what did you do?
Well, I had people by the name of Nancy Updegrove. They wanted me to go to Detroit to go to college and stay with their people. But you know, we obeyed our parents. My father said since I couldn't leave home because I was the only girl and he didn't want me to leave. So obeyed my parents and stayed home. But I saw to it that all of my children went to college. Yeah.
So
I saved up. I bought insurance. At that time, you could buy insurance, and then when they got 18, they'd have enough money to get into college. Well, they came to school when I was going there, and $300 was enough to take and get you in college. Well, that's all I saved for each of my children, and they were able to get into school. But when they were going to school, they started grading them on the curve. You know anything about the curve? All right. And Mr. Heine and my daughter was going to graduate from high school, so they said if the child that got like a B, he was able to get an A. And so when they went to college, they failed everything because they didn't know how to study. And so that's the reason why everybody has to take a test now. Okay? And so Mr. Holitek was his name. And I went up there, and so Politek said, Carol, you let your mother do the work and you can get the grade. I said, oh no, my daughter's gonna have to do do the work. And so when my daughter went to college, Central State, down at Central State, okay, she graduated in 3 years with a bachelor's degree. Yes. And I put my brother, that deceased brother, my mother and I was pregnant at the same time. And my brother is 2 months older than my son, okay? So they were like brothers instead of uncle, okay? And so my father and mother died. The rent money from the house, that's how I was able to put my brother through college, okay? Yes.
that's wonderful.
Yes.
What a good goal too.
Yes.
So so you didn't go to college and you stayed here.
Yeah.
So did you get a job or?
Oh, I worked at Echo. Then I went to Central State Can Company.
What was Echo?
Echo, where they made pots and pans, and they made the perforated shells for the war.
Did you work on any wartime? Did you work on the perforated shells? when you
No,
were
I
there?
didn't. No, I didn't.
And you said Central State Can?
Can Company at that time.
And was that here in Massillon?
Right on 16th Street. Where you see those buildings there, that's where I worked at.
Okay. And what was your job while you were there?
I cleaned
Cleaned?
the offices. My
Okay.
cousin her name was Gladys Ramsey.
I was about to ask if they paid you well, and then I realized a woman during the Depression and the war.
Well, let me explain to you about that.
Please
Okay.
do.
All right. Now, the people on the line got paid a certain amount of money. I don't recall what it was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would ask us, oh, how much do you get? I said, oh, you got to be kidding. That's what you made? Oh. I said, oh, we was making more money than what they were.
No way.
Oh, yes. But we wouldn't say so.
No.
No. And at profit sharing, okay, then we'd go and we would receive profit sharing money. And what I did, the money that I started on, I'd put that in stock from the company. I had 302 shares of stock. So when my son had leukemia, I was able to take my stock out and fly them down to Texas so they could help my son.
Wow.
Yes. I was preparing to have a good living, baby.
I know.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah.
how life happens.
That's right. Yes, yes.
So how long did you work at the
16 years.
Wow.
I didn't want to retire then, but my husband retired. And so he said, I don't want you to work anymore. So that's the reason why I quit.
Tell her about the catering company.
No, I worked up in Chagrin Falls, baby. I worked up there.
What? You had to go all the way there?
Every day.
Oh, no way.
I drove up to Chagrin Falls every day. I'd come back home, and my sister-in-law, her husband would buy her the Cadillacs,
Yes.
but I was the driver, and everybody thought those cars belonged to me. But they was Bertie's cars.
Yes.
Okay, Bertie wouldn't drive, and baby, I knew the signals for when you're driving.
Yes.
Oh, you had hand signals
Yes.
then, okay, and I knew, like my husband was a truck driver, so I knew the signs and how many times you'd beep your horn to go around a car. Yes. Oh, and we had a handle. Okay. My husband I was U-joint. I forget what his name was.
You joined?
Yeah.
Did you ever travel with him on any of his trips?
Baby, listen. He worked up in Stahl. You know where Stahl is?
Yes.
The truck broke down, and then he'd call me and tell me to bring all these tools. I'd get the tools out of the garage, and I'd take them up there. And by my hand being, his had a big hand like your father. I think your father has a big hand.
Yes.
And so he would take and have me to stick my hand in there to do to fix the engine.
Yes.
Okay.
Because your hand was smaller. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
So how did you meet your husband?
Well, that's another story. Now, I was going with another young man over on the north on 4th Street. And at the age of 16, my mother decided to give me a birthday party. And so the young man brought me a box of candy. Now, my brother was sitting in the dining room, and Herman, that was his name, Herman Reed Brooks, he decided he would stay in the dining room with my brother playing cards or whatever, and he would stay there till all the boys would leave, and then he would leave. If they stayed there till 10 or 11, he waited until they left, and then he would leave. Now, I didn't, so my father said, now listen, he's too old to be in there with your brother. He's watching after you, okay? Looking after me, but he never said anything. And he was detained. Now, you didn't know the worn white.
No.
Okay, well, anyway, I liked it worn too. Okay. And then my cousin decided that she liked him. And I was sitting on Gladys's, that's my cousin, porch. And my cousin came over and kissed him. I said, well, you can have him, then I don't want it.
Well, how much older was Mr. Brooks?
That's only 2.5 years.
Oh my goodness. Okay, but your dad thought he was too old.
Well, when you're 16, 2 years can be a big difference.
That's
Yes,
true. Well, not only
uh-huh,
that,
yeah.
Her being the only girl. I'm
That's
sure her
right.
Dad was trying to make sure he was protecting her.
That's right. That's what that was, baby. And my father was the type of man that prayed when you got up, and when you came back from school, he was still praying. Now, you know he had time to rest in between, but he knew he was coming home, and he would still be praying. Yeah. Yes. And I got jealous of a young girl by the name of Ella Neely. You know Ella Neely.
I might, but I don't reckon. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Not sure.
Anyway, when she stayed with him. Now, oh baby, and he let her wear shorts. We wasn't allowed to wear no shorts, and so I got mad at him. Okay, for letting her wear those shorts. Well, I wasn't living there then at that time, so that was his renter.
Right.
So that's how he was getting extra money.
Right.
He had retired and everything. Yes, yes.
I bet she was not well thought of though, 'cause,
She wasn't married at that time.
okay.
And did you know any McQueens? Sammy
I
McQueen?
just know the name.
The name, okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, she married the brother. And my father said, now look, don't you let nobody come in this house. He had a special name for the gun. He said, I didn't know he had a gun. And it was down in the cabinet, down underneath. He said he had a name for it. I forget the name she told me. But I'll say, oh, Susie. Oh, Susie is down there. And if that boy gives you any trouble, you just get that gun and say, get out of here.
So that was the way to solve that problem.
That's how he solved that problem. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh my.
So Herman Reed Brooks, was he of the family that owned the funeral home?
Oh, no.
No.
No, no. Oh, that's another story. Now, the funeral homes, his name was John Brooks.
Okay.
And my name was Lollie Richardson, Lollie B. Richardson. Now, he married a lady by the name of, her last name was Richardson. So two Brookses who were not related married Richardson.
Goodness.
Yes,
Goodness.
And she was a school teacher.
What's the chances of that happening?
Very rare.
So
I forgot to tell you, I am from the Redfoot Indian. And my husband is from the Blackfoot Indian.
Where do you trace that back to?
I go back 6 generations.
How did that get in there? Was your family originally from Alabama, and then 6 generations ago there was okay.
I don't know where he come from, baby, but
He's in there.
but he's in there. Yeah, I don't know that. That my other cousin knew all of that, but I don't.
Well, what about your mom? Did she have any mixed blood in her, or was hers just strictly black?
Now her mother looked just like an Indian and straight up. See, we didn't get any history on my mother's side.
Okay.
This is all on my father's side.
Uh-huh.
But now, my grandmother's sister was half white,
Okay.
and her name was Armenia. And when Amina, we call Amina, and when Amina was going downtown and had me to go in the bank with her, everybody thought I was the maid.
So she must have been. Was she as light as Mama?
Oh, this color.
Oh, is that right?
and had hair just like
Oh my
they.
goodness.
Yes.
Okay.
Now that you knew Toot the Anderson, you know Marva Anderson.
Oh, Mrs. Brooks, so many people, I just don't remember
Okay,
them.
all right. Okay.
But that was your mom's sister,
Know that my mom's aunt.
aunt. Okay.
Uh huh.
Your grandmother's sister.
Yeah, my grandmother's
Okay.
sister. Yes.
So, do you know much about your parents' childhood?
No, man.
Okay.
No. Mm.
Figured I'd ask.
Oh, that's another story. I wish I didn't have this on. Now, my mother and her sister, her we called her Aunt Hun. So Aunt Hun told my mother that she was going to get married. Okay, they were going with two brothers, my father and his brother, and so my mother decided that she was going to get married. And now my father, they had a buggy with the fringes on top. They was called the Good Livers. Okay, and so then my mother decided she was going to get married before her sister. And so my sister got upset because she had told her mother that she was going to get married. So she left and went to Chicago and got married up there. And she met a man, and his name was Farmer. And she only lived together. He only lived 4 years. Then he died. Okay, then my uncle Moses, okay, uh, would always stop by there because that was his first love, okay? And so he would take his wife there and everything, all right? And so when she died, he called me and he said, baby, I want you to take and call your aunt because I'm going to write you a letter. And I want you to send this letter to her, okay? And so I did. And he said, now you tell her I'm coming up there to get her and I'm going to marry her. And whatever I do, I'm not leaving Chicago till she comes back to Alabama and live. And so when she got back down there, now he bought land as far as you could see, all right? And he built, by him being all crazy Moses, he go into the hardware store. He could get anything he wanted because he's acting crazy. Just going and pointing at everything he wanted. And he built all of his children big homes. Okay, so they wanted me to come down there to for the visit for 1 week, okay. And my husband promised that he was going. Well, he backed out. Well, see, if I make a promise, I'm going to keep my promise. So I went on down there myself. I said, oh, Lord, I'd heard about how they had outhouses, and chickens would come up there and pick. and so, and so when I got down there, I was so surprised because he had running water, a bathtub, and everything, baby. Yeah. So I enjoyed myself while I was down there.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah.
So, did your husband grow up here in Massillon?
Now, he grew up in Wetumpka, Alabama. Don't ask me how to spell it, because I don't. Wetumpka.
I know that the last part of it is
K
TUMP.
K K A. Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the beginning of it.
Yeah.
It could be WE or WA, something like
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
when did he come up to?
Now that I don't know down.
Did his father also work at Republic Steel?
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's another story.
Please do.
Now, his father was a fighter. He'd go and beat up everybody, baby, and then he'd run home. And then he would have my intended boyfriend at that time to see who was coming. Yeah. And then he'd be watching so the father they could jump out the window and run someplace else.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And then there was one of the sisters. There was 5 sisters and 2 brothers. Okay, of my husband. Okay,
Mhm.
and so there was one girl there that my mother-in-law's brother wife didn't have any children. They lived in Dover, Ohio. So they wanted her to come and they wanted me to come as their children. So they dressed her real fine. So when she came home, she would not sit down on her mother's furniture. So she said, this is the last time you're going back down to Dover to live with them because you think you're better than your other brothers and sisters, so you're not going back. But she still dressed fine because she had good clothes. And whatever I got, she would try to get the same things. Yes. 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 Yes.
What a life.
That's why a lot of people like to come to hear me talk,
I can
baby.
see why. I can see why.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, what was your favorite music growing up?
Well, I tell you, there was a time that they had Lena Horne was very popular at that time. Stormy Weather.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh my, yes.
And we all tried out, Everybody had you could get famous if you could sing.
Uh-huh.
And so I went down and I tried Stormy Weather. I was trying to imitate Lena Horne, but I didn't pass the test. Yeah. Yes, yes.
Not everyone can be a star.
That's right.
Very cool.
And another thing, my husband, I would tell jokes, and then my husband, my sister-in-laws always try to out-top me. Okay. So they did. So I made up my mind that I'm not going to try to do that anymore. And so after my husband died, people said, "Oh, I didn't know you were so funny." Well, I made up my mind. I got tired of them trying to outwit me. Yes, yes.
Mrs. Brooks, be sure to include some of the things that you did church related, because you sang in the choir.
Oh, I sang in the choir. Oh, well, I was the president of all the organizations. That was the cottage board, the choir, the usher board, the kitchen committee, the pantry. I was head of all of that for a while. Okay, all right. And we bought. I am the one that bought the organ for the church. Our group, the choir.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but Mrs. Mason was here at that time. Now the organ that I wanted to buy, it was a type of organ that was better than what you have. What I have there now.
Okay.
Okay, because you could put a tape in if they wasn't there, and they could play the song. But we was willing to pay for it. But since they come, and they tried to get Esther from playing the organ, they wanted a sister to play. Okay, I said, So they had a meeting. Deacon Bradley, you ain't got this on it.
Everything.
What?
Yeah,
I'm
you're
listening.
on.
You're on.
You can change subjects.
Deacon Bradley,
He's gone anyway.
and they was all had a meeting for Esther. They was gonna get rid of Esther. So Esther called me because that's my adopted daughter. Okay, she adopted me after her mother and father died. And so I was sitting in there, just sitting. So they changed their mind. They let Esther still be the organist, okay? But see, if she didn't have nobody to fight for her,
Right.
but I didn't have to say a word. All I had to do was just sit there.
Good.
Because I was going to straighten them out.
I'm sure of that. Yes, I'm very sure of that.
Yes, baby.
And what church was that?
Friendship Baptist Church.
Sunday school superintendent?
I taught Sunday school for 30 years. Bertie was the superintendent.
Okay.
So were you working at the same time you were raising children?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
So where did your husband work?
Republic Steel and Central State Can Company. And, that's another story. Now, that was, the war was going on. And by him being a chipper, he was a great chipper to clean the steel. And so, in order for him not to go to the war, he had to be married. So, I got married twice to the same man. I got married to my uncle, Walter Toes, at midnight. But I'd already sent out my invitations for to be married September 28th. So, he thought that he was going to do you do the do, but I didn't let him do the do. I said, you go home. And now, my sister-in-law, the one I told you, my sister-in-law, okay, she married Brother Toes. We had a double wedding.
Yes.
Okay. So he went his way, and I went mine. I said, my invitation is out, and that's all I'm going to go. You go to your house, and I'm going to mine. So that's what we did, baby. Then I had his uncle to marry us again. All right. Now, my uncle didn't charge me no money,
Okay.
but his uncle charged.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, okay. So,
Oh, my.
all right.
That's
Yeah.
great. And that was September of what year?
40.
So he didn't go to the service?
No.
I did not know that you could get out of it by being a husband.
Well, at that time you could.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Because they had to have the steel to make those shells.
Yes.
So he was a good chipper, see, and the steel had to be purified, okay, and so that's what he did.
So he
Yeah,
was more valuable here than he would have been.
that's right. In order for them to make the perforated shells, okay, yeah.
Jeez. So what would the two of you do for dates before you got married twice? Where would you go on dates? Theater, restaurants, what?
No, I had a baby right away, so I stayed home then, until he was old enough for me to go to work. Then I was working. I worked for a dentist. I worked for a lawyer. Yes. And I worked at Brookside Country Club. I was a salad girl out at the Brookside.
Is that right?
Yes, baby.
And what did you do for the dentist and lawyer?
Well, I cleaned and cooked for them. And and my first turkey that I made, okay, I stayed up all night reading the cookbook. And I read the way you put the bread in the oven and you toasted it and you made the squares. So I'm one of the first ones that made the croutons. But they didn't call them croutons at that time. I just took the butter, I buttered them and stuffed it in the turkey. Okay. And it was a 15-pound turkey. And so the cookbook said how many minutes that you're supposed to take and cook a turkey. So I did that, okay. I forget the lady's name. I said I wasn't going to forget it, but a person at 93, I should have wrote some of these things down. I thought I could retain everything, but you don't do that.
No.
Yes.
So how did the turkey turn out?
It was one of the best turkeys that they had ever had.
Oh my goodness.
And then another lady would not have nobody else to work for her for 5 years until I could take and work for her. Isn't that something? Yes, yes, yes. So she just kept pestering me. So I decided, okay, I'll come and work for you. Yes. Yes.
It's wonderful.
Well, you should see Brookside now. I mean, I was just there last year for, this is when they honored Esther
Oh,
at Brookside. It was
yes.
nice, very nice.
Yes.
Lovely place.
Yes. And now at Mars Lake, we could go to Mars Lake and we played bingo with the corn.
Really?
That's what you had was little corn. That's what you put on the lettuce. And it was called a community. Everything was closed down in Massillon.
Okay.
And everybody would go to the park over there.
Is
Okay.
that right?
Yes, baby. Yes,
Well,
yes.
you did get around.
I did get around. Yes. Oh yeah, I drove to Chicago. Me and my children by myself.
Did you?
I
Oh,
sure
my
did.
word.
Oh yeah, I was a speed demon at that time too. You didn't have no signs to say how fast you could. I drive 80 and 90 miles.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, there wasn't many cars on the road.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes,
So what did you do during the war?
just worked.
Just worked.
Yes.
Did you have a victory garden or any of those?
Oh, now when my father had an acre of ground, I say it was an acre, it wasn't quite that much, about a half an acre, and he planted, and so he said, okay, you're going down to hoe out the corn. You ever hear about that, baby? Oh, you put 3 or 4 grains of corn in the ground,
Yes.
and then you'd have to take those ones that because all of them couldn't grow up together, so you had to take a hoe. Did she go?
Yes, she left. Yes.
So and then you had to pull the one and leave one stalk. So guess what I'd do? I'd pull them all down and then stick one back in the ground. So it would fall over the next morning. So my father said, "You little devil, you don't want to learn how." I said, "That's right, Dad. I don't want to." So my brothers had to go and do that, not me. I stayed home with my mother. Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to think of a question I want to ask.
While you're thinking about that.
Please do.
So did your mom canned? So now, did you have a lot of produce come out of your garden?
You canned everything: black-eyed peas, lima beans, green beans, cabbage. Now about the cabbage and the collard greens, we had a grape arbor. And the grape arbor, my daddy would dig out the grape under the ground,
Yes.
and he'd put the cabbage down under there, and it would stay green all winter long.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yes, and that was right on on Young Street,
Yes.
baby.
Yes.
Yeah, where Ursie Murray's son lived at. That was my father's house. He built that house.
Oh, my goodness.
It was painted yellow now,
Okay.
but they added on. Okay, and that's where Teresa White lived at too.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Yes. Yes. Oh, I forgot. I learned how to do the violin too. But don't ask me, I couldn't play nothing now.
Did you get to practice very much?
No, baby, no. We're doing it on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you play?
Not long. No, not long. I was just trying out everything.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. Tried the piano too. I did have lessons with the piano. But at that time, baby, you had to be able to chord everything. You had to learn everything. And it cost 50 cents. Well, 50 cents got to be too much money.
Okay.
So I had to stop that. That's the reason why I saw to it that all my children learn how to play the piano. So Marlene can play the piano, she can play the organ.
Yes.
Michelle can do the same thing. Jerry can too. Okay. Yes. All the things that I wanted to do, I tried to let them do it if they wanted to. I didn't make none of them do it if they didn't want to.
Yes.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, doll. Yeah, you see that bouquet in back of you?
Mhm.
My daughter put that together.
That's beautiful.
Now, Carmen Michelle Johnson, she was going to be uh, a painter, okay? And while she's going to school, she was studying the Bible.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, you're going to get a degree anyway. So when she didn't finish that, she went up there for a long time, but she was determined. You never know how God will use a person. So she studied, and she's studying the Bible, studying the Bible. So then I guess the Lord wanted her to be a minister. And so you talking about somebody can expound the Word of
Is
God.
that right?
She can, she and her husband.
That's great.
And play the organ or the piano.
Uh-huh.
Yes, baby. Yes. She learned her own self how to
Oh,
play.
did she?
Yes, like my brother.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there was some playing. They played by ear.
Yes, baby. Yes,
So you said that was Carmen. Is that your daughter, granddaughter?
That's my daughter. I
Carmen
can
Michelle.
show you their pictures if you would like to see them. Okay, you can show them, baby.
And where are they?
Okay, right out there.
Oh my goodness. You got the whole family all lined up. You're allowed to be on camera. You know that, right, Joyce?
This is not my show.
Oh.
I'm just the aide.
No, baby.
So all on the couch here?
Oh, yeah, now you see that picture right here at the end? No, at the top.
That one.
That's me. That's my wedding picture.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I want to see that. Yes, please.
That's the wedding.
Bring the other picture next to that.
Okay, I'll get the other next to you.
Oh, that's my wedding picture. That gown comes from Saks Fifth Avenue. I ordered it. I
You
know
want
it.
to hold it up for
Oh.
me? Saks Fifth Avenue. My goodness.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Now, is this Mr. Herman in this picture here?
Yes.
That's beautiful. I can take it back for you.
Okay.
And when did you? Oh, that's right, 1940.
Now, is this Mr. Herman in this picture?
Yes, baby.
This is her husband.
Oh.
And someone did a beautiful job on recreating the wedding picture.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't it pretty?
I was gonna say, can we? I don't know how to make that happen. If you hold it just to the side of her, I've got.
Sure.
Move over there.
Okay, so.
All right. So that is Herman. Okay.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
And there's my son in there.
Mm-hmm. So, Lollie, where would you go for grocery shopping?
Well, we went to, at that time it was called the AMP.
Okay.
Went to AMP and Kroger's. That one, Joyce.
Right here?
Yeah, bring that.
Your son is in one of these pictures?
Yes.
One of these guys?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Huh.
Which one? The vibrations.
That one right there.
Okay, right here. This is her son. Here on the end. And they had a group.
And he just come back from England.
Right there.
Okay.
Oh.
He just got back from England.
He's very talented
Yeah.
people. Okay.
Yes.
Where would you go for clothes shopping?
Darling Shop, Lindy's, and Siegel's. And Parisians over in Canton.
Oh, yes.
and sterling man.
Yes. How well I remember.
Yes.
And would you ever go out to eat?
Not often. Not often,
Well,
no.
what were your specialties? What was your most favorite, or what was your best dish?
All of them.
Okay, good.
Anything that you wanted, I could fix it, baby.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now, I used to have a table from there in here.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And my sister-in-law, Ernestine, and her twin boys would come, and I would roast a turkey. And so I had to buy extra drumsticks because each one of the boys wanted a drumstick. So the drumstick was on the turkey, and then I had 2 more drumsticks. So I had 4 drumsticks, so everybody could have a drumstick. And the one twin, he could eat a whole chicken.
Oh, gee whiz.
Yes,
So
yes.
it sounds like you had some really good times at your house.
Oh, baby, we did. And then when our children, Marlene and them, got married, they did exactly like I did. Make a long table and have her friends up there
Yes.
and have us up there to eat. Yes, baby.
You just reminded me of something. What about your birthday party? Didn't you have a special birthday party for your 90th?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And it was called the Italian Club at that time. Yes, and then up at Live Song Church,
Yes.
I used to talk up there too.
Oh, did you?
Oh yes, yes, and they had me a cake too.
Oh, nice. That is
Yeah, yeah, baby. Yes, yes.
'Cause I don't know, I think I was here when that party was held. I'm not sure, but I thought that Marlene made sure that you had a birthday party for your 90th.
She did, baby, and it was at the Italian Club. Yes, yes. And then I went to the daycare downtown for 4 years, where it used to be the First National Bank. Yes. Now, baby, if you look under there, under where the where the Bluetooth lamp is, I think there's a book under there, or up on top. No, right. Look at up there, up there. There is a book, like a folder, a big book with a folder.
Well, we got a Bible. Got some Bibles. And what am I looking for?
A folder. Like when you go into school and you have a big folder.
Bottom. Okay. All right. So did you ever make honor roll, or did you get any honors while you were in school?
No, baby.
Uh-huh.
But that's the book right there. Bring it.
All right, if you wait 1 second, I'm going to switch tapes. You've maxed out my
Wow.
first tape.
Mm-hmm.
This is April 29th, 2013, Mandy Altimus Pond from the Massillon Museum. Tape 2 of our interview with Lollie Brooks, and that is Joyce Chism there holding the scrapbook.
So you said you were at the daycare for 4 years?
Yes.
Well, now you were on a boat here.
Yes.
Where did you go?
Sippo.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Great. These are wonderful pictures to have. And Mandy, you need to see that. She loves hats, and she is a hat wearer.
Well, I got more. I want you to go
I'm not
in.
surprised. That one you had on yesterday was beautiful.
Well, maybe you're going to see some more in there on the bed.
Whoops. Okay. Just so you can see, Mandy.
Okay.
This
Yes,
is one
please.
when you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is, and see, this purple is just beautiful. She had on a beautiful gold hat yesterday. It was a special, an annual Women's Day program.
Mhm.
And these are some of the pictures from when she was at the daycare center that she mentioned.
Yeah.
And Sippo with her life vest on and all. And doesn't that's one of the things that's so awesome about Mrs. Brooks. She doesn't allow limitations. If she thinks that she's going to do what she can to do it, that hat is just gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm impressed with your hat wearing.
Oh, she wears some hats, I tell you. She wears them well. Some people can just wear hats extremely well, and Mrs. Brooks is one of those people. Okay, there we
That's
are.
wonderful. Thank you for sharing
All
that.
right.
You can let her go. You can let that run for a while.
Mhm.
Take her back in the back room, baby. I'll go. Oh, I can't get her loose. Or just go right straight back there. Go follow her, baby.
What?
So you can see the hats.
Oh, so I can see the hats. Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'll pause this.
Oh,
Let me get by, excuse me.
My goodness, those are some fantastic hats.
Yes, baby.
And like she said, you wear them so very well. That's,
Yeah.
She does.
Yes.
that's awesome. So tell me about your children. When did you have your children?
Well, 1941. Then 3 years after that. Then I lost a son. Then I had 1954 and 55.
And where are they now?
Well, my daughter, Carmen Rochelle, is in Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. My other daughter is in Warrenville Heights. And my son is in Cypress, California. And like I said, he just returned from England about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
What's his name?
Jerry Brooks. Jerry, Philip Brooks.
And your daughter who's in Warrenville Heights?
Carol, Michelle, wait a minute, Carol, Marlene Brooks.
All right, so what did Carmen end up doing for a career?
She is a minister.
And Carol?
School teacher and a probation judge.
Wow. And Jerry?
A singer. He went to Compton College in California.
Well, I think like Joyce said, it sounds like you have a lot of talent in the family. That's
Yes,
great.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I took tap dancing lessons.
I'm not surprised.
I was going to be a journalist. I knew how to set up a paper. But at that time, it was too many of us learning how to become important. And where we could do what the other people do. And they only would take and let us take 1 year because they knew you'd have to know everything about being a reporter. So we got a full graduate course for 1 year. For the secretary, I could type like you don't know what, but they only let us, and take shorthand, but they only let us, we got a full credit for 1 year. You cannot do well only with 1 year of that. So they know how to keep us down. But that didn't stop us. We still, like I said, I always went pushing my children to the forefront. Yes.
Now, that just reminds me of something else. You mentioned you could not be customer at the Lincoln Theater. You could sit in the balcony, and you could sit on the left. And then you just mentioned that because because you were black, you were limited to what you were allowed to learn.
This was people thought this was a good little time, but it was a, what you call it?
Segregated and prejudiced.
Segregated and prejudice, yes.
And with that, did you have any other issues because of being black that you were limited in living in Massillon?
Yes, we only could live on a certain part of the town. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Primarily southeast
Yeah,
side.
southeast, and what they call Patagonia.
Uh-huh.
You heard the pastor talk?
Yes, I've heard of Patagonia.
Patagonia was called the boondocks. That's way out where you had to have running water, chickens running around. And, you know, had outhouses and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I do hear people talking about that.
Yes, baby.
And and that's something because you were able to work at Brookside. All of the things that you did and the cooking and the places that you were connected with, and you were able to do that, and being black, and you still pushed your way through in spite of.
Yes, baby. Yes, yes,
That's
yes,
awesome.
yes. Well, see, if you treat people right, you'll be
Yes.
treated right.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Now, just like when the first man that took care of me, he worked for me. When he come through that door there, I knew he was a Christian by the first word he said. Okay, and he worked for me for 7 years
Oh my.
during the day, because I had to have somebody practically all day long when I first had my stroke, because my daughter was telling me that when I first had the stroke, they had to turn me upside down. My head was down,
Oh my.
and my feet was up like that. Okay, yes. So that's the reason why I guess my memory is as good as it is. It didn't take. The blood went to where it was supposed to go. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. I had wonderful school teachers. Mrs. Heskett was my 6th grade teacher, and she told us to speak very, very slowly and very distinctively. Uh-huh.
That was good instruction.
Yes, baby.
Very good instruction.
Yeah. And also we had another English teacher by the name of Mrs. Gardner, and she was very strict too, but everybody loved her because she took time to take and make sure that we learned how to read and how to speak and everything. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yeah. And I took it all in because when I worked for Mrs. Heimer, Mr. Heimer, her son was working in Columbus, Ohio, and I would answer the phone, and he said, "Oh my goodness, Mom, who is that?" He said, "I would like for her to come to Columbus to be talking on the phone." But you know I wasn't going to leave Massillon to go down there.
Exactly.
Yes, 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 yes. So I've had a lot of good opportunities. Yes. Yeah, because I didn't know we was in a depression. I really didn't know that. By me being the oldest girl, I never had to wear no hand-me-downs, as the old folks used to say,
Yes.
because my mother bought me nice clothes, because she was a perfectionist.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
That helps a lot.
Yes, and when she worked out doing domestic work, when she come home, she patterned after them. She made her house look like their houses, okay? Now, you see there's some cups up there in that hut. What not, Shell?
Yes.
Painted, hand-painted.
Oh my.
Yes.
So did she make your clothes or did she buy you?
Oh,
clothes?
baby, I ain't never had no bought clothes. Hand-me-down clothes. All my clothes were bought. And I used to have ruffles on my panties. Yes, and we couldn't get dirty. and we would have to go to bed as we had lunch
Yes.
for 1 hour because she saw that's what they when she was working.
Okay.
That's what they did. So well, that's what we had to do. Mm.
Now, you know who else did that too was Daddy's sister Millie.
Yeah.
She was like that because she worked for the Pococks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And she did the same thing. She patterned her
Uh,
life, her residence. The
Right.
way that they did her best to pattern her lifestyle after their lifestyle.
That's
She saw
right.
How well they lived.
How well they lived. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Now, the only thing I wouldn't let them do, I wouldn't let them pierce our ears.
Uh-huh.
But guess what? Now, you know how the kids tattoo now?
Oh yes.
Well, we tattooed too, but we didn't call it tattoo. I don't know what we call it. We took a match, and I had my name on my arm. I put my
What?
name on my arm. Yeah, you just rub that stick like that.
Oh my goodness.
And it would come off. It stayed on there for about 5 years, and then it wore off. Oh,
Oh my.
and then the other thing that the young men used to do, you know, when the corn, that brown silk
Yes.
on the corn,
Yes.
well, they take that and roll it up and smoke
And
it.
smoke it.
That was,
Now that
for-
I had heard of before.
you heard of that
Yes,
before?
yes.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
that does not sound appealing.
No, not at all. I wonder if they got a buzz off of it.
Yeah, that's right. And now my mother used to dip snuff. You know nothing about no snuff, do you? No. Oh, do you?
Yeah.
My mother used to smoke snuff, and she'd go out and get a twig, and you know, a little twig, and make it like a brush.
Yes.
And then she dipped that down in there. But ain't one thing I didn't try. No.
Yuck.
That spitting it up.
Yeah,
Oh no,
gee whiz.
that's too nasty for me.
Me too. I agree with that.
Yes. Yes, baby.
I'm sure your mom was a good cook too.
Oh,
wasn't
baby, one of the best. Oh, my father.
she? Really?
My father taught my mother how to cook.
Oh my word! Well, how did he learn?
I guess from his parents, I guess. I don't know that, but he was a great cook. And he had a birthday party. He said, I've never had a birthday party. And she said, baby, I ain't but one thing I want you to do is make me a sweet potato pie. Told me how many to make. And so he invited all these people in. And I didn't know this. Now, he had a raccoon. He cooked a raccoon. You never would have known it was raccoon. Okay. And he had sweet potatoes around it. You heard of that, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, you ate it. And then then when he got through, he said, do you know what you ate? We said, no. He said, a raccoon.
I'm assuming it tasted good at the time.
It was good at the time, baby. But if he wouldn't have told that,
Wow.
then it would went on down. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, my.
Mm-hmm. Yes, dog.
So now, when oh, I'm sorry, Mandy.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, do you remember when your parents passed away, and do you remember when Mr. Herman passed away?
Yes, baby. Now, my mother passed away when my daughter Carmen Michelle was born,
Okay.
and I was in the hospital.
Oh.
And they told me that she had died, and my breasts are flat now
Yes.
because my milk in my breast curdle,
Oh.
and so they had to give me special pills. I didn't want. They called it that time a milking machine. I told them I didn't want no milking machine on me, but to give me the medicine, and the nurses would have to go into the bathroom with me and stay in there
Yes.
until, whatever happened
Yes.
got out. Yes, baby.
I've never heard of that before.
What, baby?
That your milk can curdle.
Yes, baby. Especially if you something like that happens to you,
Trauma.
from the heat, from your temperature going up that high,
Okay.
and then you see my temperature went up that high, and Reverend Lancaster was the pastor, and I wrote in his Bible, if you think that I'm going to die, send me home. I want to die at home.
Okay.
But you see, the Lord saw fit for me to still be here.
Yes.
Yes,
That's
yes,
right.
yes, baby. Yes.
So who died first, your mom or your dad?
My mother died. She died at the age of 52 or 53.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-huh,
She was
yeah.
so young.
Yes, baby, yes. Yeah.
What did she die?
That I don't know, Doc. I don't know
Has
that.
she been sick? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she was sick. Uh-huh. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And then her grandmother, when I was 4 years old, they brought her up from the South
Uh-huh.
with Aunt Mary and Reverend Walter Toles. I was on 11th Street, and I was at the foot of her bed when she died.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Oh.
baby. Yes.
Now what about your dad? What happened to him?
My dad had a heart attack, and he called me and said, "Baby, take me to the hospital." And no sooner as I took him to the hospital, I had money for Ella Neely. That was that's her maiden name now, but Ella, okay. And Ella, he had put some money in it. Ella had him to keep money for her.
Okay.
And so he said, "Baby, take this money here and give it to Ella." He knew he was dying.
Okay.
And by the time I drove from the hospital, they called me and told me that he had passed.
Oh my goodness.
Well, my baby brother was at that house by himself. And I made the mistake of calling him and telling him that his daddy died. I should have never done that because he went berserk.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he went berserk. And then I had to bring him up here, and he lived with me the rest of the time. Yes, baby. Yeah. That's the reason why they were just like brothers. So then I saw to it. Oh, Lord. That's another thing. Okay. I saw to it that he went to college. Okay. Now, my other brother, Junior, he was in the service too. His name was, he was named after my father, Fletcher Richardson. They had two of them named Fletcher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My mother had a baby with Uncle Walter. They named him Fletcher. But after they put him, I found out where he's buried at. So they got two Fletcher Richardson down there. Yes, yes. And so I brought my brother here. So that's, we wanted him to get, and now he would not eat with us. And so I'd buy a peck of potatoes, a bag of potatoes at that time, that high. And guess what they'd do? I had a French fryer that you put them in there, you squeeze and make French fries.
Okay.
Now we'd be sleeping at 3 o'clock, and they'd be in here cooking.
Goodness gracious.
Well, that's the only way we could get him to eat. So my husband said, "Okay, now we're going to take the doors off. You're going to see people, okay?" Because he just go in that room and stay in there. So we said, we're going to take the doors off so you'll be able to get out of that. We did all we could to take and get where he is today, was today.
Right.
Yes, baby. Yes,
So
yes.
he finally did get better.
Oh, yes.
Oh, good.
Oh, yes. That's the one that they recognized. Walter.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my baby brother.
Baby brother.
Yes, baby.
My goodness. They just recognized her baby brother. I'm sure you're familiar with the Distinguished Citizens.
Yeah.
He was one of the Distinguished Citizens at this annual program they just had a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's it.
So, all right. So that's your baby brother.
Yes.
Walter. And there's a mayor's proclamation under that. It was really a nice ceremony.
Yeah,
nice
that's
service.
it.
Oh, wonderful.
They had it at St. George's Greek Church downtown Massillon.
The Culture Center.
That's where it's held. It was very nice.
Wow.
And he was quite the singer, internationally known bass singer.
Was he in any groups, or was he just by himself?
In the groups, baby. He sang at the Catholic Church every Sunday
Okay.
in New York. He sang at Letterman's he was on the Letterman show, and also on the Today Show with the group. And Megan, husband, was out of town, and when the son was born, guess who held the first baby? My brother. I got the picture of the boys.
Now, who's Megan?
That's one of the singers in New York.
Okay.
Uh-huh. That's a picture of the boy. You see two boys there?
On top of the television or on the floor?
On top up there, up top there. See? Look,
The
baby.
Christmas card?
No, no, they by themselves. See the two boys? Right over there by the picture. You see the puzzle on the walls?
Yeah.
Now look down. Do you see two white little boys?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The first boy, that tall one there, my brother, he held the son
Okay.
before the
They were
father
very
did.
close, weren't they?
Yes, they're very close.
Now this picture here, this old picture there, is that your
Now,
dad?
no, that is my great uncle
Okay.
that signed the Constitution of the United States.
Oh my goodness gracious. Now, do you remember his name? Wow.
Grady is his last name.
Uh-huh.
I got everything on my other report, what his first name is.
Yes.
I don't know if it's Prince is Grady. I don't want to say so, baby, but
Yes.
Grady is his last
Oh
name.
my goodness gracious.
Yes.
Wow.
You've done had a lot happen to you in
Yeah.
93 years.
Yes, baby, yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, what about, and I wanted to ask you about Mr. Herman. How long has it been since he passed away?
I say about 40 years.
Oh, that long?
Yes.
Wow. So he was also like,
Yes.
he wasn't even 60, right?
Yeah. Yes, he was in his 60s, baby. About 64, something like that. Mm.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
That's a long time ago.
Yes, baby. I tried my best. I'd get out and walk at night, trying to get somebody to talk to me.
Oh, bless your heart.
Well, everybody had said that I was too good of a person. You knew McLean
Yes,
and the Blunts.
yes.
Okay, they all, and my husband, they all worked together with
Yes.
those tandem trucks. Okay, they went up on the hikes and they was talking about me. And they said, she's too good of a lady. We cannot have nobody mess with her. So I never had nobody to approach me.
Yes.
Hmm
Oh,
I said that's what God wanted me to be, an ambassador for Him.
yes, and not to be mistreated by people.
That's right,
No,
baby.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Well, now, I don't want to make you feel badly, but how long when did you have your first stroke? Or you've been incapacitated for quite some time, right?
Yes, baby. Well, I'd say at least I'm 90. 40 from 90 would be what, baby?
50.
I was at 60, about 68 years of age.
Okay.
Now, how long would that be?
Okay, you were born.
Or 75. They said, I'd rather take 75. I was 75. Then from there till now.
Okay.
Almost 20 years.
20 years. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, baby. Yes.
But you just nobody would know if somebody didn't see you and they would talk to you, they would not know that you were not able to get up and just do everything you used to do.
Well, I'm going to shock you again. Now, I can walk when I go to the Sarah Center
Right.
because they have a rail over there. I hold on to the rail. They push this chair back, and I can walk at least 20 feet.
That's wonderful.
and walk back. Yeah, I can do that with assistance.
Yes.
If two people get under this arm and this arm,
Yes.
I could walk into the church.
Uh-huh. And you go there twice a week, right?
Yes, baby, I'll go to Sarah Center tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and they have cooking classes, okay.
Oh.
I tell you, the people, they'll say, they'll have them to measure. You know, when you're sitting around a table, and each person has a job to do.
Yes.
And so they'll say, crack an egg and put it in there.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then they say, pass it to the next person. You got something to do. And pass. Then they say, well, what should we do? I say, pass the pan on over here to me. You hold the pan and give me it. And I start mixing it all up. And then when his arm gets tired, then I pass it on.
Uh-huh.
Then they follow suit.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
you
baby.
are such a great inspiration because you don't make excuses for what you cannot
That's
do.
right. Oh yeah. They asked me when I was out there Thursday, would I like to go to the painting class?
Uh-huh.
Art is gonna come. I said, oh yes.
Oh, wonderful.
I said, if a man can take his toes
Yes.
and paint, and he put it in his mouth
Yes.
and paint,
Yes.
why can't I have my easel that I got here?
Yes.
I asked them, do they want me to bring my easel?
Yes.
And they can put everything in there,
That's right.
and I can stroke it.
Right.
Yes, baby.
That's great.
I don't never turn nothing down. I'm a trier.
That's
If I fail, that's fine, okay?
But you tried it.
But I'm gonna try. Oh yeah, I tell you, this is another thing that happened. This man had a birthday cake. Now you know you're supposed to cut your own birthday cake first.
Yes.
Well, we leave there too early for me to get the snack. So I said, now listen, we don't never get a chance to get the snack of nothing. I said, now when I mix it up, I'd like to at least taste what I had you all to cook. So what they'll do, go and fix the bags and stick it in the room. When I get ready to go, they bring it out or give it to the driver so he can give it to me, okay? Yeah. Now getting back to the cake, so what they had done, they went in there and cut me a slice of cake about that size big. And what they did, they put those paper plates,
Yes.
they put one over the top
Yes.
and one under the bottom, it's already put on the bottom,
Yes.
and sealed it up. So nobody knew that it was cake.
Is that right?
Oh, yes, baby.
Oh, my
Oh, yeah,
goodness. So
yeah.
now at the Sarah Center, you